Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jenny. Today's review is going to be of the Besame Cosmetics Sleeping Beauty palette. This palette is beautiful. I am going to get into the packaging and everything with it when I get into the review. I do want to mention that I did the review of the Snow White palette, which unfortunately is no longer available, but I will link that up here for you in case you're interested, so you can see my thoughts on that since these are very similar. And like I said, I'll get into that during the review as well. Before we start the review, I am going to do a tutorial on the eye look that you see now. So we are going to do that first, and then we'll jump right into the review. So let's go ahead and start the tutorial. To start this look, I have already primed my eyes with a full coverage concealer and then set the concealer down with a mixture of a white and a cream matte eyeshadow. And so taking a fluffy blending brush, I am going to go down here. I'm going to go into the shades Coral 102 and Adobe 102. And then just put this in the crease and kind of all over the lid as well. So now going into the shade White 07, I'm going to do the same exact thing with that just to kind of deepen the crease up a little bit. With that same brush, I'm going to go into a mixture of Gray Pink 109 and Rose 05 and do the same thing, but keeping the pink focused on the actual lid itself. I am going to blend it up into the crease as well though. Now going into the shade 89396, I'm going to just kind of keep this all over the lid as well. I'm trying to make the lid as pink as possible. I'm actually going to take my ring finger in that shade and pat it all over the lid. And then I'll take that brush and then kind of blend it. So now taking my ring finger and going into the shade Blush 05, I'm going to put this on the outer and inner portions of the lid, and then I'll blend that in as well. Now going into the shade Beat 05, I want to just kind of lightly dust that all over the lid as well, just to kind of blend all of the pinks together. So now I'm going to take the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light Sand, and I'm going to take just a tiny bit of that on a brush, and I'm going to line it up with the center of my eye. And then blend it in, patting it with my finger. I'm hoping this is gonna work right. May end up being a disaster, who knows. So taking my index finger into the shade Gray Blue 104, I'm going to pat that onto where I put the concealer. And then taking a small brush, blending the edges together. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that blue-gray shade and just kind of build it up a little. And then I'm going to go into Royal 106 and just top that off. So this is the top eyeshadow done. I'm going to go ahead and finish it on this eye, finish my face, and we'll be right back to do the lower lash line. So I went ahead and finished my face as well as put on some mascara on the top. And then I added the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Prance on the inner waterline. So now what I'm going to do with a rounded pencil brush, I am going to go back into a mixture of all of these earlier shades that I used. I'm sorry, you can't see that. So all of the more pinky neutrals on the top row. and run that all along the entire lower lash line. Now going into a mixture of Beat 105 and 89396, I'm going to take this also on the entire lower lash line. And then taking that brush with the pink on it that I used earlier, I'm just gonna blend those out haphazardly. And then taking a smaller, fluffier brush, I am going to go back into that shade Blush 05 and then just add that on the very outer corner. So just because I think some sparkle is needed since this palette is all matte, I am going to go into the Kathleen Lights ColourPop So Jaded palette in the glitter called Opal. I just want to pop some of that on the inner corner. So now that I have added lower lash mascara, this look is now complete. Let's go ahead and start the review. So to start this review, we're going to start with the packaging. So this is how the package comes. It comes in this really pretty Sleeping Beauty sleeve. There are quite a few other items in this collection. There are 3 lipsticks, 2 are more pinky nude kind of shades, and then the one is the blue lipstick that turns pink, the play off of the pink and blue dress. There's a cream blush. I think there's a pressed powder. I think there might be 1 or 2 other items. There's a mirror that's absolutely beautiful, but I did not pick it up. And then of course there is the eyeshadow palette. Just like the Snow White palette, it came with this adorable like newspaper spread talking about their approach. It has the voice actress. It talks about the movie. And, oh, here's a picture of the whole collection. It's the eyeshadow palette, the mirror, the 3 lipsticks, a Locket Cream Rouge, the blush palette, a translucent powder, and I think that's it, yes. It also has this adorable little lookbook thing on the back that shows you how to get 2 different looks. I think that's a really cute addition. I kept the Snow White one for a very long time, but I did keep the Snow White one. I do still have it. So since I have this one too, I am going to keep them both, and I'm really hoping that Cinderella's next, because Cinderella is my all-time favorite. And I do just want to hang on to this because it's a collector's item, and that's mostly why I bought this, to be honest. I am a very big Disney lover. I love all things Disney. I love going to Disney World. I just love the magic behind it all, and so when they incorporate it into makeup, it's like a dream come true. So I do want to go ahead and talk about the actual packaging of this palette. It is shaped like a book. It has the original book design from the Sleeping Beauty movie. I think they did a really, really good job of recreating that. I did want to go ahead and compare the two. So here is the Snow White and the Sleeping Beauty. I do think the Sleeping Beauty one is prettier cover wise. Before I dive into the actual palette, I do want to mention, I did mention this in the Snow White video, these shadows, the colors of them were selected from the actual pigments and shades that they used in the making of Snow White and of Sleeping Beauty. So the shade names correlate with the pen or the pencil or the pigment that they used for a certain part of the movie. So like the pink dress and the blue dress and Sleeping Beauty's hair, things like that are all in this palette. So let's dive into the actual palette. You have this beautiful mirror on the front cover, and then you have a picture of Sleeping Beauty herself. And with this plastic sheet above her face, it shows you what color was used in what portion of her. So the crown and the necklace were 89339, her brows were Dust 107. I think that's a really nice addition to this. And then there is Maleficent as well, and it shows the breakdown of her too. And then over on this side, it shows some of the art detailing as well as a blurb about this collection. And then when you flip over here, you get the eyeshadows, of course, that's protected by a nice plastic sheet. I do like that. And then over here, it gives you the breakdown of what shade was used for what part of the movie. So I think that's a really, really awesome addition. It really makes this a interesting and very unique palette. The concept of these palettes are absolutely amazing. And it breaks it down by Aurora and then by Maleficent, so I think that's really awesome. You do get 20 all matte shades that correlate to the movie and their colors. Most of the shades in here are for Sleeping Beauty. I think Sleeping Beauty is from the blue to this blue, and then the rest, this pink to the green, are Maleficent shades. So before we jump into swatches, I do want to go ahead and discuss the palette a little bit. I do not like this palette all that well, to be perfectly honest, because other than this look that I have on now, and then one other look where I'm using most of the very light pinks that I actually get lots and lots of compliments on every time I wear, I can't get these shadows to work for me. I have a hard time blending these shades out, and it could very well just be like personal error that I'm not a professional. I'm not really good with shades like this in general, but I feel like the quality of these shades are kind of chalky and they blend together very strange. And you'll kind of see that in the swatches, because I do believe that the swatches in this particular situation swatch true to how they apply, because even this blue, if you zoom in on it, it looks very, very chalky. And like these two down here, these really dark, deep, vibrant shades, this purple and this green, they are very, very sheer when you put them in your crease or in your outer V, which in general is okay because it's like nice to easily build. But even if I pat it and pack it onto the lid, if I want to blend the edges, it just blends it away and blends it into a very sheer, muddy looking cloud. These shades all muddy together, and like these shades all right here muddy so badly together, and like I have a hard time getting a cohesive look that doesn't muddy together or that isn't the same one over and over and over again. As a whole, I think all of the pink shades in this palette are really nice. These two blues are okay for this purpose. They're fine, but blending them, they muddy together as well. These two greens are pretty alright, packed onto the lid and on top of a primer of some form. Kind of how I did today with the blues. They work a little bit better if you have an extra tacky base, like a glitter or shimmer glue works a little bit better with those greens. Otherwise, they blend really badly as well, like just blending away to nothing. So it's mostly packing them on is how you're going to get your biggest color payoff. You can't just pack all of these shades on. You have to blend something somewhere, in my opinion. Maybe that's not the look you're going for, but that's what I'm looking for. And I just personally had a very hard time with these shadows, and for that reason I just haven't been a fan of it. I haven't really been reaching for it a whole lot after like the week and a half that I had been testing it out. And for $68, I'm really disappointed that I don't love it. I'm not going to return it just because I think it's gorgeous and I want to collect all of them, which is a horrible reason to buy makeup. But if you were looking at this palette thinking, wow, those colors are awesome, I really want to play with colors like that, you wanting them because of the color story, don't pick it up because they're not great, in my opinion. They're just not that great. If you are wanting it because of this reason, I still don't know if that's a good enough reason for you to spend $68. If you want to spend $68 on beautiful exterior packaging, that's good for you. Go for it. It is beautiful and it's gorgeous to look at, and the concept is amazing, and I'm in love with it for those reasons, but the shadows themselves I was not blown away with. And I just don't know that I can recommend them to you for that reason. But if you're a Disney and makeup fanatic like myself, then it's a beautiful collector's edition item. So now that I have done the review of this palette, I have zoomed you in a little bit and we are going to do swatches row by row. So this first shade is the shade Gray Blue 104, and it was used for Sleeping Beauty's eyes. We then have Gray Pink 109, which was used for her lips in the peasant costume. And then we have Rose 05, which was used for her eyelids. So this was her eyeshadow. And the last two shades in this row are Coral 02, which was, you can't even see in that swatch, I'm sorry, which was used for her skin. And then Adobe 02, which was used for her legs, which is a weird thing. So here is row number 1. Now on to row number 2, we have Blush 05. This was her lipstick in the blue and pink dress scene. We then have 89343, which was her hair. And then we have Dust 107, which was her eyebrows, which is crazy because that is definitely green. Then we have the shade 89339, which was her crown and necklace. And then we have the shade White 106, my apologies. And this was her shirt, her blouse, and the peasant costume. So here is the second row. Don't mind this bruise over here. I'm not really sure how that happened. These next three are the last for Sleeping Beauty, and they are the shades White 07 was her skirt in the peasant costume, right? Yeah, that's what it says. Okay. And then we have Beat 05, which was the pink dress. And then we have Royal 106, which is the blue dress. And now we are in Maleficent territory. And now we have the shade 89396. And then we have the shade 89348, which both of those remind me of Cosmo and Wanda. The pink one was her lips and nails, and then the green one was her eyeshadow. No, her eyes. It was her eyes. So here is the 4th row. Now we're in the final row, and this one is 89349. It's really chalky and crumbly, unfortunately. Then we have 89350, which was the ball of her staff. And then we have the really pretty purple that I am disappointed in, and that is Plum 07. See just how chalky and sad it is compared to what it looks like in the palette. And this purple was the pleats of her cape. Then we have 89352, and this was her skin. And then we have 89353, which is her staff. So here's the final row. And as you can see, both of these dark shades right here are just really patchy and sad. It's just not what I was expecting, and I was really disappointed because of how pigmented and beautiful they look in the palette. So that was my review, swatches, and demo of the Besame Cosmetics Sleeping Beauty palette. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to subscribe, please feel free, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.